Okay, welcome back to Mixing Arise Run 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 in Universal Audio's Luna. Today we're going to work on some spatial things with the delay effects. I'm going to start by playing this background vocal section and take a listen to how close the vocals sound to you as a listener.
Run, 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 you run.
They're not extremely close, but they're closer than I want them to be for a background vocal. Let me put that into the mix.
Run, run, run. Babylon and go come.
It's going to be easier to mix this as a whole if I can push those back a little bit. The way I'm going to do that is by using what's called a type of a Haas effect. And I know I've used that term before. You don't really need to know that much about it if you want to do a deep dive on Haas effects. It's spelled H-A-A-S. It was named after Dr. Helmut Haas, who kind of figured out how this whole thing works almost 100 years ago now. The way this should work, if I pull up, I'll do this on the main vocal first so you can hear it.
Run, run, run.
If I use a delay on this, first things first, I'm using this on a mono source. A lot of times when you hear someone talk about using the Haas effect, they're using it as a stereoizer kind of thing to make something sound extremely wide or to kind of trick your ear into thinking that it's bigger than it is. What I'm going to use it for is something totally different. I'm going to use the Echo Boy. Now, the basic tenets of the Haas effect are that if we have a source sound and a delayed sound soon after it, then our ears can sort of figure out what kind of space that sound is coming from. It's very similar to early reflections in reverbs, which we will also use in this. I'm going to move this down a little bit so you can see where I'm using the echo time here. The Haas effect usually in something like this will be best applied between about 10 milliseconds and about 50 milliseconds. And the way this works is that if I have a single sound, for instance, if I bypass this,
Run, run, run.
let me mute that reverb so we're just hearing, I'm going to mute it. Yeah, I'm going to mute the reverb so we're just hearing the vocal.
Run, run, run.
Now there's no echo on that, but if I put a slight delay on it and I only use maybe one or two echoes, I'm just using this feedback control here to only make about one or two at the most echoes. I'm going to move this echo time to about 10 milliseconds or above. So I'm going to pull this up about 23 and I'm going to mix that into the direct sound of the main vocal.
Run, run, run.
If you're listening on headphones, you can probably feel that going farther back into the mix. I'm going to change the style up to maybe an echoplex. I'm going to make this effect a little bit bigger by increasing the milliseconds here.
Run, run, run. Babylon and go come. Run, run, run. Babylon and go come.
It's a very subtle effect, but in a mix, it will push the signal farther back into the mix and make it feel like it's more a part of the overall sound. So I'm gonna get rid of that right now that you've heard that. I'm gonna use that on the guitars actually first. Guitars are actually kind of loud in this mix right now. I'm gonna use this effect to push them a little farther back into the mix.
Run.
I don't need to use it on the guitar that's going through the space echo that they're using. And I believe it's just these three here that I need it on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to back this up a little bit. And we're going to put this on the bus. We're going to make a new bus for these rhythm guitars. Okay, that way I can actually affect all these at one time instead of doing this to each one. And let me pull up the Echo Boy again. We'll do the same thing we did before. Okay, you can really hear it on the guitar parts because they're so short. And if I pull this up, it starts taking over the sound. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a little bit longer. And I'm going to start cutting some of the lows out and the highs. Okay, here it is without. Takes it a little bit away from being right in your face.
Babylon a go come. Run, Babylon a go come.
Okay, now we're going to do that to the background vocals, but I'm probably going to end up doing that on each one of these tracks by themselves at first. Let's start with that one, the main one. Okay, I'm going to copy this over to a couple tracks, and then we'll kind of change the time delay to make them sound a little bit different so that they're coming from different places in the mix. Okay, let's take a listen to this lead vocal. We're going to do something similar to what we did using the delay, except this time I'm going to use a reverb only for its early reflections. Let me mute that plate again.
Babylon a go come. Run, Babylon a go come.
Yeah, I just tried to do this with several reverbs. This will probably be the best one to use to illustrate what I'm doing. Let's go here to Hall. I'll use just the first one, that's fine. And we have a selection here where we can turn up and down early reflections or the reverb. I'm going to take the reverb all the way out, and we're going to change the size of this Hall by using this right here. You can see those early reflections coming in, getting real short, and I'm going to use those within the Haas Effect window. So around 10, you know, up to about 50. I'm going to put this at about 28 or so. And then I'm going to slowly move this into the mix with the lead vocals.
Run, Babylon a go come.
You hear how that creates a space around the vocals. Now I'm going to tailor this equalizer a little bit. I'm going to bring in a little bit more highs, bring out the lows. Do the same thing.
Run, Babylon a go come. Run.
Now on this particular plugin and on lots of other ones, you'll have variations of what's called decoloration, and those are types of halls. Basically, if I change this, I'm going to turn this up and we'll change this and you'll hear the difference in the surrounding space.
Run, Babylon a go come. Run, Babylon a go come.
I kind of like number 4. So let's pull that down now. And I'm going to slowly move that up until I can almost hear it. I just want to really feel it instead of hear it.
Run, Babylon a go come.
Okay, now I'm going to put it in the mix.
Babylon a go come. Run, run, run. Babylon a go come.
Right, and it's kind of a big difference when you mute it and unmute it. This is not something I would actually use on this main vocal, but I will use this on a send to the background vocal. So I'm just going to drag this over here. I'm going to change the name because I will get totally lost if I don't. And I'm going to send each one of these background vocals into that reverb. I'm going to take out the one that's going from the main vocal. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to slowly blend that in. Let me change that output to the BGV sub. Let me back up a second and take a listen to how the electric guitars sit in the mix now.
Run, run, run. Babylon a go come. Run, run, run. Babylon a go come.
I'm going to do something routing wise different here. Instead of sending this to the main bus, I'm going to send, or to the electric guitar bus, I'm going to send this to the mix bus on its own. I'm just going to copy over these effects. They should be a little bit different than they are on that space echoed guitar track. So this I can change to space echo guitar. That's the rhythm guitars, and this should go to the mix bus. This should now go to the rhythm guitar. Yeah, that's right now. And I'm going to copy these over and make new versions of them because they're a little bit different than the other one. Yeah, that's sounding much better to me. Those little tiny changes make a huge difference in the overall mix, at least to me. So what we've done today, we've done the Haas Effect by way of a delay. We did the same sort of thing on the background vocals, and we've used the early reflections on those background vocals as well to give them a little more space. In the next video, we'll do some automation and finish this whole thing up. This has been a fun project to work on. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe. More videos are coming very soon.